Hey guys, welcome to the recap of the new day here at Asian Chess Championship, where my opponent today was the Palestine FIDE master Abouaziza Raji, and his king had a very long walk across all the board in this game. Crazy game with some sacrifices. My accuracy is around 90%. You will enjoy this. And the king, yes, he did not probably at the end enjoy it, but maybe he did. Let's take a look at this. While preparing, I noticed that against the Sicilian defense, which I've recently started playing, the Knight of Sicilian, he plays the bishop e2. So this is the starting position of the Knight of Sicilian, one of the sharpest and most interesting openings out there. And bishop e2 is the line that he plays, and against e5 there is knight f3, another system, but he plays knight b3. And in this very tournament he already played it twice, so two people with black all played this line against him, and they both played bishop e7, and he seemed to be very well prepared. He made two draws against a GM and an IM, I think. So I wanted to surprise him, and I went for bishop e6, which is another line. And it used to be considered dubious because white can go f4 f5 and gain a tempo on this bishop, but it's not that simple. So I go bishop e6, he goes f5, I drop back. And here he started thinking a little bit, and I realized that he does not fully remember the lines here. He went bishop e3, which is already not the best move. Already black has equalized, but I was also out of my prep because I did not have bishop e3 in my files. The logical moves here are castles or g4, and there are interesting positions arising after that, but he went bishop e3. Okay, I went bishop c6, very logical maneuver, putting pressure on this pawn. He overprotected it. Now I go knight d7, developing the knight, and he goes queen e2. He probably wants to castle or just put the rook on d1 and put pressure on the d6 pawn. The d6 pawn is a weakness in most of the knight positions, and it's like a thorn in the side, so to say, of black, because it's restricting the bishop, and preventing it from moving, and also the d5 square is up for grabs in many variations. So this is the drawback of playing the knight, but sometimes black breaks with d5 and solves all the opening problems. Around this topic, this theme revolves the fight in the knight very often. So this is one of the themes. It's a very rich opening. So b5 is a logical move, best according to the engine. I want to push b4 and dislodge this knight because it's protecting this pawn, so something has to be done. My opponent goes a3. Here I was actually thinking I want to push a5, a5 b4 or a5 a4 in some variations. But the problem is if I go b5, he can take. And for some time, I spent some time here thinking, and I thought maybe I'll just sacrifice this pawn. And actually the engine says this is the best move. I initially thought I could do this, but then I thought, okay, Greg, calm down. You like sacrificing material too much. It's not objective. There is nothing concrete here. I wanted to sack this pawn and just go a4, and then rook b8 and put pressure over the b file. And yeah, black has decent compensation here. Actually, instead of a4, the engine gives bishop b5 as equal, even this, and then just castle and just play as if nothing happened. I just gave up a pawn, but I will have some pressure in the style of probably Benko Gambit on the queen side. So interesting stuff, but I decided against taking a pawn. Practically, I think it's not very wise against a strong opponent just to give pawns left and right. So I went knight c5, renewing pressure on the e4 pawn, and he dropped back to protect it with the queen. And now the engine really likes this plan. This and on this and next moves, knight a4. I saw this move. I like for a second considered it, but then I thought, why should I like double my pawns? But the engine already prefers black because yes, the pawns are doubled, but they are well protected. And next the b file, the c file will be open, and I will put pressure there, so black is taking over here. But I didn't think of this plan. I'm not that experienced in the knight, probably in some other games this plan already happened. I should study more. So I went queen c7, which is a very logical move, just sidestepping various pins over here, because if the queen is on d8, then if the rook is on d1, then knight c5 becomes a threat and I cannot recapture because my queen is pinned. So that's the idea behind queen c7. He goes g4, a very logical plan, and here I go h6, preventing g5. Again, on this move and next moves, knight a4 is the top engine choice, but I don't do this. This is why the evaluation bar a little bit jumps up and down here, because I miss this knight a4 several times in a row. So here he goes h4, he still wants to push g5, and here again knight a4 is the best move, but I sidestep with this knight, very logical also, because I don't want him to push g5, and knight d7 adds another defender to the g5 square. The bishop and the pawn now nicely control it. Now he goes castles. Actually, the engine prefers here for him just taking this with his knight for some reason, and castling long, and says that white is better here. But this is all engine subtleties. He castles short. Probably he didn't want castle long because I can attack him over here like this, and it doesn't look too pleasant. But here I realized something. I realized that his h4 pawn is now weakness, and it's protected once, but if I add another attacker here, it will be attacked twice, and if he goes here to defend it, because you don't want to go h5. Now the black squares are horrible around the white king, and also white will never push g5, and also light squared bishop is so horrible. So h5 is a completely anti-positional move. You should not play this. You should not play chess if you play like this. So a logical continuation would be queen e1, protecting this pawn, but then I calculated and I can take and go knight c5, and there are two threats. I am threatening the pawn and I'm threatening a fork like this, and at least I'll win the dark squared bishop. And if I win the dark squared bishop, this is the most important bishop for white, because the dark squares will be like completely naked, and then this pawn will fall. So this is already unpleasant. Black will have to give it up like that, and white will have to give it up like that, and black is better already here. So this I calculated, but then I thought queen d8 first can fail to him taking this like this, and then going queen e1, and I don't have this plan. So instead I decided to inverse the move orders. I first took the knight and then went queen d8. So this is what happened. Takes here, but that allowed him to go rook a d1, which he did. Instead of going for that variation, he didn't like it. He decided he'll exchange his h pawn for my d pawn. And I decided, okay, let's go for it. I wanted a fight, and I took his pawn, and he took my d6 pawn, and it's a central pawn. So normally a center pawn is more important than flank pawn. H pawn is worth less than d pawn, but in this position, the d pawn was not worth that much because it was a weakness, a backwards pawn, and I never could have pushed d5 because all his pieces were controlling this square. So I gave it up. I decided that the h-pawn is more important here because his king is castled this way. My rook is still on the h-file, so I will not have to castle. I probably will break with h5 in some position, and I will attack his king. And my king is safe in the center. The center is closed. So I went rook c7 here, protecting the bishop. He doubled on the d-file. And now I went for aggression. I sacrificed a pawn. Practically speaking, I think it was a good move. The engine says that it's an inaccuracy. The engine says I should play more slowly, cautiously, like here, and then queen c7, and the position is around equal, but I wanted to attack, and I went h5, I sacrificed this pawn. The idea is not just to like open the g file, but to open the file for my rook, to join the action, because what's the purpose of castling? Like some meta thoughts on chess. What's the purpose of castling? First, to hide the king from the center, and second of all, to activate the rook, because the rook in the corner is not playing. How else can you activate the rook? By opening up files. So h5 here serves the purpose of activating my rook. So first I go h5. He takes, now I go queen g5 check. Now his king has to run. The best square is f1. And the engine says white is better, +1, but white has to find some precise moves. For example, if white blocks, then already it's equal. If white goes here, then already it's equal, and there is very annoying pressure. I think black practically is much better here. So king f1, white is better, but white has to find some good moves. Here I go knight f6, adding another piece into the attack. Mostly I'm pressuring a5. I want to take it with the knight, and once the bishop takes, I'll take with the rook, and then the rook will infiltrate, joining the attack. That's my plan. So all my pieces are nicely positioned. It's great compensation for the pawn. I thought initially probably I could first trade those bishops and then go here. But then I realized that he can infiltrate with the queen. And yes, it's a losing position. So I evaluated it correctly. Taking would not be good. So instead, I go here. Let him take. It's okay. I'll take back with the queen and continue my attack. So he goes bishop b6. Interesting idea. Even though it's a mistake, the best move would be here. Threatening also this, and I would have to do something about it probably. Probably I would have just castled, yeah. But he went for a similar idea with bishop b6. Now he's threatening to check me like this and attack me like this. But it's not a real threat, because if he checks me, I'll be able to take back, and if he takes back, I'll just go king e7. The problem is that my rook will be hanging, so that's why it is somewhat of a threat. But I have knight h5, a very strong move. And now if he goes here, it's not a problem for me, because if I take and he takes, I go here. He cannot take here because his queen will be lost. Like this. Huh, interesting. He has queen d2 and it's a draw apparently. And what should I have done? Ah, queen d8. Yeah, of course. And then this. Yeah, of course. I would have played it. I think I would have calculated it. But so turns out it's not a real threat, rook d8 now, because I have knight g3, this idea. So first he takes me. And here I thought for some time, and I thought I can't take with the queen, and probably he will have to trade the queens and go into an endgame. And I have the two bishops, but he has an active position. Probably black is a little bit better, but not by much. The engine says it's around equal, minus 1.1, so a tiny bit better for black. And I decided, you know what, I'll take with a rook. I'll try to play on for an attack. Maybe he will make me trade the pieces. But if so, then okay. But if he goes here, I can evade the trade of the pieces. And the bishop now defends the square, by the way. Also, I thought that if he does something like, I don't know, queen f3, protecting from this check. Because otherwise, if he goes like a4, for example, queen f4 check, and he's crushed. Here, king g1, rook g5, and his king will be torn to pieces by my torn to pieces by my pieces. So instead of a4, of course, I thought a logical move is queen f3, protecting against this, and I was intending to go queen f4 and trade on my terms. And this endgame I already thought is better for me, and the engine actually, when it thinks a little bit, approves of my plan, because this pawn is far advanced, and probably in the future this one can join it, and yeah, this is much better than with the pawn here. So a subtlety. But instead of queen f3, he went queen d3. Oh no, he checked me first, sorry. And then went queen d3. And I realized that he has some threats. He has two threats. Queen d6, checkmate in one. And also bishop c5, only move for the king would be here. And then queen d6, also checkmate. So he's threatening checkmate, but his king is wide open. And here I started calculating. I thought that at least I should have a perpetual check. And from afar, I thought that I should have it. But then I realized that it's not as simple, because if I go here, for example, his king escapes. He goes here, I check him. 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 And he goes here. And the king runs here to the queen side from the king side. So king's journey would be this, like this. Very, very, very fascinating journey for the king. So this I rejected. This is losing, of course. I realized that queen f4 doesn't work. So, but I have to protect against the checkmates, and I cannot protect against both checkmates, against both this and this. I cannot defend both those squares simultaneously, and I cannot run with the king, because then I'll also be checkmated. So I have to check him. The only idea is this. And I calculated, and I thought, okay, this should be a perpetual check, because he cannot run here to this side of the board, because then I can checkmate. I will be able to checkmate him with my rook, queen, and bishop. So he has to stay somewhere in the middle, and I will continue checking him, harassing him, or he can offer a trade of the queens, but then I'll definitely not lose. I will play for a win in the endgame. But he tried playing very precisely here. He went knight d1, first of all, blocking the check. So I have to continue checking him. I check him from here, only move. He blocks like this with the knight. Actually, from afar, I thought that he could block with the bishop, but then it's not that dangerous and I'm winning, because he no longer has the bishop c5 check threat. So the only threat he has remaining is this, so I just have to defend like this, rook h6, and I'm winning, because I'm attacking him and he has no attack. So probably he saw it, he went knight f2. And now I continue my checks. I have to check him because otherwise I'll get checkmated. So I check him like this. And now he starts running. Look at this king's journey. Check, check, check. And now he thought for some time and he probably wanted to go here, hide from checks, but he realized it's impossible, because if he goes here, I can check him like this. And if he goes here, I'll check him like this, and he'll actually get checkmated and lose this. With check, and yeah, it will not be good for him. So he cannot run that way. Instead, he decided to run back, king d1. So here I thought, okay, he'll probably go for a perpetual check, good result against a FIDE master who is much higher rated than me. Okay, so I continue checking him, and here he thought, and he was like, okay, let's play, and he went king f3. This is crazy. I was like, who is this madman? This is still a draw, by the way, but he's risking very much. He probably thought that I'm a lower rated player, so he should play for a win. He did not see any checkmates for me, but you will see that it was not the wisest decision. So I take. He obviously thought it. He cannot. He thought that he, of course, he cannot take with the pawn, but he can run with the king, and he ran. So I don't think it was a blunder that I can take this pawn. Now I check him like this. And now the move that he should have made here is king h3. King h3, I have no more checks, and it will be a draw after queen takes a3, protecting against both threats. And there is a long variation I can show you. Check, queen check, knight f3, check, like this, and then like this, wow. And then, yeah, queen against bishop, queen and bishop, but I have a perpetual check. So I didn't see it during the game, obviously. It's impossible for a human to calculate this in time trouble, but this is the line that he should have gone for. So after rook f4 check, he should have gone king h3, and there are, by the way, there are other lines that also lead to a draw. Rook f3 is a beautiful one, for example. So he has to take, but now his queen no longer threatens anything, and I can take this, and his bishop cannot take because it's protecting the rook, and it will be a draw after a long line. So that could have happened, but he went king h5, and now he's losing. But I have like 5 minutes on the clock at this point, and I have to make like 3 moves until the time control. And I make a mistake. The winning line would be first to check him with g6. I was considering this move, and then take on a3, and it's winning for black. I didn't do this. I thought I first take on a3, protecting against those threats of checkmate that I already showed you. And here he had the defense, but he also missed it. Knight g4 is the defense. Now he's threatening to take the bishop. If I go g6, that's the difference. So g6 he takes and he wins, unfortunately. So that would have been a strong move, and then I would have to make a draw in another way. I would have to go here. And it's a drawn position apparently, because I have some checks, he has his threats or forks, and it ends in a perpetual check again. Okay, so this could have happened, but he did not go knight g4. He was excited with his ideas. He went queen c3, which looks very beautiful. He is threatening this check, winning a rook, but more importantly, he's threatening this fork, winning the queen. And also he wants to take the bishop. So everything is hanging. The bishop is hanging. The rook is hanging with a fork and a check. And the queen will be hanging after a fork. So what do? I sacrifice the queen to win this game. Can you find the move? Bishop f6. and it's lights out. And my opponent did not see this move, and I saw it immediately. So the threat is rook h4 checkmate, and he cannot stop it. Well, he can stop it, but he will lose material. So I'm fine even giving up the queen. He checked me, and I just ignore the queen. I just take his rook, and he resigned here. Because if he takes the queen, this is a checkmate. His king is caught in the mating net. If he has some defense like queen h3, for example, but then I just take his bishop, and I'm up a rook and a bishop. A resource that he could have used is queen d2 check, and if I block, he can take here. But then I just take his bishop, and I have a queen and two bishops and a bunch of pawns against the queen and knight, completely winning. And also, again, I have checkmate threats. It's mate in 6, according to the engine. So he has no defense, and in this position, he resigned the game, and I get this important win. I'm now on 2 out of 5 points. Pretty decent result. I have a performance rating of more than 2300, more than a FIDE master level performance as of this time. I hope I can continue this performance. 4 more rounds to go. Wish me luck, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.